It was an obvious elephant in the room that nobody was addressing. Hey y'all, what's up and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby, and on my channel I talk about uplifting and healing warriors so that we can bounce back and keep moving on and be free with our lives, okay? And this video is very personal. It's actually something I didn't realize until this year, so a few months ago, and that is that I'm mad at my dad, even though he's not here and he's not living anymore. But I didn't even know that was the case until I was thinking about some things and it kind of just hit me, like I came to the realization, you know what I'm saying? And I think the topic of forgiving your dad and talking about things that you went through with your dad is not something that's really out there like that. So I kind of just wanted to share my story and kind of talk through some of the things that I've been thinking about or I've been realizing, and actually go through this process of healing and forgiving my daddy, which is not gonna be easy. I mean, I'm grown now, he's gone, and I'm just now realizing that I'm actually still mad at him, like, which is crazy. But yeah, so that's the topic of discussion today, y'all. So we about to go ahead and get to it. So going back a little bit, it's currently July 2021. My dad passed away in May 2015. I was just finishing up my senior year of college, about to go into my super senior year, when I found out. And my dad has 4 daughters. I'm the oldest, I'm 28, and the youngest is going into middle school, so there's a pretty wide range of ages between all 4 of us. She wasn't around, of course, the youngest, for a long time, and our third sister lives in another state, so for the most part it was me and my sister beneath me. So growing up, I always was happy to see my dad and spend time with him, like most kids are. Every time I cried or got fussed at or something by my mama, I would always cry for him. I would be so ready to go to his house, always so excited to go. When he told me he was coming, I would be on high. I knew me and my sister was about to have a good time, we was about to have a ball, and it was always good vibes. But fast forward to me being a young adult in college, it was nothing like that anymore. We didn't talk like that anymore. I mean, the year he died, I don't even know if I talked to him that year, because it got to a point with my daddy where we only talked like once or twice a year, period. And that was on my birthday and on Christmas. And my birthday is in October, so we didn't really do much talking. In the beginning, things were great, but I think things started turning for me when I was in elementary school. Probably like around 10 or 11 years old, I started picking up on some patterns, you know. My daddy telling me he was gonna come pick me up and he never came, and not keeping his word. To this day, this is something I'm working on, but I generally don't get very excited about things because I kind of lost that part of me growing up, with me always being so excited about my daddy coming to get me or coming to spend time with me, and him just not coming at all, not contacting my mama, like nothing. You know, as a child, like, you really get let down. I never was that type of child that questioned myself and asked myself, like, is there something wrong with me? Because I knew there was nothing wrong with me. I didn't do nothing, you know what I'm saying? But over time, like, with that just constantly happening, it just desensitized me, and I stopped getting excited about things, because, you know, if my daddy gonna let me down like that, how can I expect nothing else to let me down? But like I said, I am grown now, and that's something that I'm working on and getting through and have been working on. You know, that's just one of those inner child type of things I have to work through. But yeah, when I started getting older, you know, kids are smart. I started seeing some things for what they were, and I just started formulating my own opinion. And that's one thing I can say about my mom. Like, my mama never bashed my daddy. She never said anything bad about him. She felt like she wanted me to formulate my own opinion and my own feelings towards him in our relationship, and I totally respect my mama for that so much. I learned so much from her just from doing that one little thing for me. One of the big turning points for me with me and my daddy, I'll just never forget it. It was my 14th birthday. My younger sister, she lived like 2-3 blocks down the street or whatever. We was going to the same middle school or whatever. and it was my birthday, and I was at home, you know, doing my chores, like normal. I was the only one at the house at the time, you know, just cleaning up. And my sister's sister, whom we call each other cousins, she came to the house, knocked on the door, and I went and saw it was her. And she was like, Gabby, your daddy and your uncle at my house. And I was like, for real? And she was like, yeah, they at my house, come on. She had rolled her bike down to my house. So I finished up my dishes, hurried up on that, because I'm not about to leave the house looking crazy. Like, I'm not about to deal with that from my mama, okay? So I was pretty much done anyway, so I just went ahead and finished that up. I hopped on my bike, rode down there. It really wasn't that far. It only took a couple minutes to get down there, if that. So I got there, and when I pulled up in front of their house on my bike, I saw their mama, my aunt, and she was standing at the door. And I was like, hey, Auntie, is my daddy here? Where my daddy at? Because I didn't see his car. And she said, oh, they gone already. And I just remember at that moment, like, just standing there like I was so crushed. I couldn't even believe it. Like, what? It's my birthday. So I was like, okay. I hopped on my bike and I rode my bike back home. Thinking that they might have just drove down the street to come to my house, and nobody was there. I never heard from my daddy. He didn't call me. I didn't hear from my uncle. I didn't hear from nobody. I'm turning 14. This is my 14th birthday, and my mama came home. I was a wreck. She asked me what was wrong. I told her what happened, and my mom was so freaking mad. Like, she called him and she went off. Then she put me on the phone with him, and I'm telling you, like, I don't even remember what he said. Like, he might have apologized, but I can't even tell you what my daddy said to me on that phone that day, because everything was just black, you know. Like, I really couldn't believe that he did that. Like, why would you go down there when I literally stay 2 blocks down the street and it's my birthday? And ever since then, like, I was already starting to recognize some things, but when he did that to me, like, I just kind of could never see him the same. And there were other things that occurred, but I probably will, like, share that along the journey in different videos that I make, because I don't want this video to be too long. But that situation right there was a huge turning point for me, and I just couldn't see him the same, because I couldn't make that make sense in my head. And from that point forward, we just really weren't connecting like that anymore. But him and my sister, though, like, they was tight. They always been tight, and that's part of the reason why I really felt some type of way, because I'm like, I know y'all cool and everything, but why would you not come to my house though? Like, and it seemed like the further away him and I got, the closer they got, which really didn't make the situations any better. Like, and we talked through the years, but it just was like, it never seemed like relaxed conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was an obvious elephant in the room that nobody was addressing. And then there did come a time on my 17th birthday when he took me out to eat that I did address it. But again, I'm gonna save that for another video, because I don't want this video to be the most. But the way that conversation went, it really didn't do anything to help. It just reinforced everything. So as the years went on, me and my daddy just got more and more estranged. Every time we did get together, me, my younger sister, and my daddy, like, most of the conversation would be them talking, because I left for college. Like, when you leave your hometown to go to college, you miss out on a lot of stuff. Like, they knew a lot of the same people, they knew a lot about the same situations, and I would just be sitting there just feeling like I was just there, you know. Like, I didn't have that same bond. Like, we all knew that, but I felt it. I don't know if anybody else did, but I felt it, because, you know, why wouldn't I? And as I mentioned before, it got to a point where me and my daddy wasn't really talking like that. And I've had conversations with my mama where my mama would say, you know, Gabby, you know, you need to talk to your daddy. You know, he has health issues, and, you know, you just need to talk to him. And I would just be like, I don't want to talk to him, because I was so mad, you know what I'm saying? And I just felt like, he my daddy. Why do I have to try to fix something that he messed up? And my sister would be like, maybe you need to call him more. And my mama would be, you know, say stuff like, Gabby, you know how men are, they don't know how to express their feelings, maybe you should just call. And I just wasn't feeling none of that. Like, why should I have to be the person to call him and try to reconcile something that I did not do? Like, I'm his child. And then, you know, now that I'm a parent, when I think about it, I'm just like, no, if me and my daughter was to ever fall out, especially for something that I did, like, I'm not going to leave it up to her to call me for my pride or whatever. Like, I'm going to try to do what I can to fix it. I just feel like as a parent, that's what you're supposed to do. That was my mindset even before I had a child. So I just couldn't do that. And there were some times where, you know, I would be like, okay, my mom is right. Maybe I should call him. But then when I called him, it would be the same type of vibes, you know, nothing like crazy negative, but just like obvious that something wasn't right. And I just didn't like putting myself in that position. So I just went and called. And I know my daddy had pride issues. I have them myself, and I be trying to work through them, and I think I've come a long way, but I couldn't put myself in the line of fire like that because he didn't want to put his pride to the side and start doing what needed to be done. And then I would have conversations with my mama to, you know, to try to get some better understanding. And the more I kind of learned about what type of person that he was and certain things that occurred, it just really started making things click. You know, my daddy wasn't even present when I was born. You know, I'm his first child. Like, that's saying a lot. So stuff like that just really like scarred me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that hurts. Stuff like that hurts. To know that, you know, your daddy wasn't there when you was born. You was his first child. And then you get older and you see that he's closer to all of his other daughters than he is to you. How can I humble myself to that point to try to call him and talk about stuff after I already tried to have a conversation with him about some stuff and it went left? So things were already starting to get rocky as a kid. And when I turned 14, that was a huge turning point. And when I talked to him on my 17th birthday, that was another big turning point. And it's crazy because it was no secret that me and my daddy wasn't really always there. Like, when I talked to my sisters, when we was talking about our daddy, I wouldn't even call him daddy. I'd be like, oh, your daddy said da da da. Yeah, Darnell said blah blah blah. I didn't say that to him or to my mama because that's totally disrespectful. But when I was talking to my sister, I definitely did not call him my daddy because that's the point of rage I was at. And nobody really understood because everybody else was just on the outside looking in. Nobody didn't know what I knew. Nobody didn't feel what I felt, and nobody cared enough to ask. Everybody was just always telling me what I should do to make things better. So by the time it got to the time where I was in college, he did come to my high school graduation and everything like that. By the time I went to college, we weren't really talking like that. And when I got the phone call, my uncle called me and told me, and I was just like, what? And he hung up on me. And I didn't call him back because I'm like, you know, that's his brother. I know what it feels like to lose your brother, so I know he hurting, so I just let him be. And it was just so many mixed emotions. I cried, and my daddy wanted to be cremated, so me and my sister, we were in charge of all of that. So we honored his wishes and we did that, and it's just been crazy. It's just been crazy because I still had so many things that were going on between us that never got properly addressed or fixed. So he passed away, and I didn't think I was mad anymore because I'm like, how can you be mad at somebody who has died? That doesn't even make sense. Like, that's not even right. But when I realized as though it was a few months ago, I was just thinking about something, about him and about us, and I just got so freaking mad. What I was thinking about made me so mad, and it just clicked in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still mad at my daddy. It blew the freak out of my mind. And you might think that it would be obvious to me because of how things were when he died, but they really weren't though, because I mean, to me it didn't make sense to be mad. You know, you should be more sad that you lost a parent versus being upset with them. It just didn't seem right. Like, how is that fair? You know what I mean? So when I realized that I was still mad, it just made so much sense because my daddy's death date in May. That day is when I realized it. That's when I realized it, because I was thinking about some things and it was making me angry, and I'm like, Gabby, why are you angry on a day like this? Why are you thinking about this on a day like this, on this day? And that's when it occurred to me, like, yo, you still mad at your daddy and you ain't forgive your daddy for everything that happened between y'all. You're still mad. And it just blew my mind, like what the freak? Because I noticed after he died, the year after he died, after 2015, every single year on my daddy's death date and on Father's Day, those are 2 days of the year that I always feel so weird. I have like the weirdest feelings. You know, I feel like there is a way that I'm supposed to feel. It's just so many emotions going on inside of me that I don't really know. I feel like I be fighting with myself. Like I be wanting to act this way and feel this way, but something be telling me that I need to act this way and I need to do these things. So it's just been a constant fight with myself every year, but it never occurred to me that it was because of what truly I was feeling inside, because it just seemed wrong. And when I realized that I was still mad at my daddy, that's when I knew. I was like, Gabby, you got some work to do. You gotta forgive your daddy, because that was the weight that I carried since I was like 10 years old. And it's something that I'm still carrying at the age of 28. That's a long time. When it's a relationship between a parent, a mom, or a dad, that's not something that you just don't think about, that you can just act like you don't care. This is a person that you came from. So even if you try to tell yourself that you don't care, you only telling yourself that to help you get over it. And that's not gonna do. You only get one mama and you only get one daddy, period. So I think I was just trying to give everybody else what they wanted. Only speak positive things and see the good and all this and all that. But everybody else's story is not my story. Nobody else saw what I saw and felt how I felt. So I can't keep acting like one way just to try to please everybody or give everybody what I think they want to see or what I think they want to hear, because no, that's not fair to me. That's not fair to me. So forgiving anybody is not easy. But when you talk about forgiving a parent, and I just feel like he had so many chances to make it right. And I realized what I did in the situation too. I was so mad that I didn't care. You know, like when you hold anger over somebody, you feel like you have power, you know, because it makes you in control, because you know that you got the bag on their feelings, if that makes sense. But honestly, I might have just been making it harder for him to come talk to me, because he knew me enough to know that I was a strong, stern young woman. I mean, I have my sensitive side for sure, but that's dang sure not a side he ever seen. Maybe when I was a kid, but I don't even ever remember crying around my daddy. So that's not a side he ever saw. So I'm sure I made it hard for him to even approach me. So I do see how I messed up in this situation as well. But me just coming out and talking about this is something that I know I needed to do for myself. I know it's probably a lot of other people out there who are having troubles forgiving somebody or forgiving a parent. And I mean, I feel like it's understandable why we're upset. These are people that had a part in bringing us into this world. We innocent. We innocent. But I don't know, and I've tried to talk to my sister about it. My two youngest sisters, they were just too young and they weren't really around, you know, so they have their own perspectives of him. But my younger sister that's right below me, like, I tried to talk to her about it, but I might have tried to talk to her about it at the wrong time. I was trying to talk to her about some things after he had already passed away, so it was probably too many open wounds and stuff like that for me to try to address it. I tried to talk about it like twice, and she always shut me down, because it's just like, if it's not anything positive about him, she don't want to hear it. So I mean, I get it, but it's just like, I was just trying to tell my truth. But if I can't, you know, do that, then that's fine. I still got to do it for myself. So that's what I'm doing here. That's what my business is based off as a life coach. And not even just my business, this is what my life is based off of. Realizing how I feel and what's holding me back from really being happy. Being happy is hard as heck, but I know regardless of everything that I've been through and that I've seen and felt, that's what I want for myself. So I'm always trying to figure out what's clinging on to me or what I can do to be better, to free myself from everything that I've locked onto me. And the relationship that I have with my daddy and all the negative emotions that comes with that, is a huge part of that. And for so long, I just walked around feeling like I had a dark cloud over me. And as the years have gone by, I have just really been able to pinpoint why that is and what's actually been going on with me. So if you understand anything like this, or if you ever walked around and felt like you just had this big weight on your chest, or something just on your shoulders, or a cloud over you, or like when you feel like you just want to take a deep breath, like but no matter how big of a deep breath you take, it's still not enough to relieve you. That's when you know you got some type of stronghold on you, some type of chains that you need to break. Especially when you've already been through something and you recovered from it. Nah, if you feeling like that, it's still something going on with you. And if you want to know the top 5 reasons that dark cloud is still hovering over you, click the link in my bio so that you can get that free guide, so that you can start moving and maneuvering through all that stuff. Because I'm telling you, I learned firsthand what the heck was going on with me and why that cloud was following me like that. And I'm still, as you can see, finding things out about myself, processing some things. I'm doing this for me, and I'm putting it out there to maybe help somebody else too, because I know I'm not the only one out here who's harboring feelings, not just against your dad, but anybody in your life. But this is something I'm going to continue through because it's very necessary, and I will be documenting it on YouTube. So if this is something that you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Bounce Back fam, and I'll be back at it with another one. But until next time, y'all, that's it. And peace and love. I'm out.